Hi there. Today I've been thinking about giving and what it means to give sacrificially. Sometimes I feel like I get to this place where I don't have anything to give. And I have to remember that even if I just give of my time or talent or give of my prayers and cover someone else in prayer, that it's still giving. But sometimes I think we're called to give sacrificially in a way that we have to dig really deep for. And that reminds me of a time when our son was about 7 years old. We were heading up the Relay for Life in our county. My husband and I did. We chaired it for a few years in a row. And thankfully, to all of the many teams and the hard workers and the volunteers and the people in the community, we ended up, the first year we raised it, beating all records and raising more money per capita for the American Cancer Society than any other county in our state and than any other time in the history of that county. And it was an amazing year. And that year we had Jarrett Minear and his family at our Relay for Life. Now Jarrett is from, or was from, Lexington, Kentucky, and his family was from Kentucky. And he was a young boy who had been diagnosed with cancer, I think starting at the age of 2, and had had many treatments and surgeries and things. And he started what he called the Joy Cart. He collected toys and games and took them around to the hospitals and had this little cart that he took around to share these toys and games with children who were there in the hospitals. And it became quite a big thing. In fact, they still have a nonprofit now where they collect toys and games and other things for kids in crisis, including for kids who are in the hospitals, just to share a little bit of joy with them. So it's an amazing nonprofit. You can find them out on the internet. It's Jared's Joy Cart. But he was at our event, and so we set up huge donation bins for people to donate toys and gifts, along with the raising funds for the American Cancer Society. Well, when my son found out about this, he was about 7 years old. He decided that he wanted to take all the money out of his piggy bank to buy toys and games for Jared's Joy Cart, which we were really surprised by because this little kid came out of the womb, I think, loving money, and he wanted to save every penny that he got, that he found on the ground, or that he earned from doing chores, and he stuffed it in that piggy bank, saying he was saving for something special. He never did tell us what it was, but he was saving for something special. Well, when he told us he wanted to take all of the money out of his piggy bank and spend it for Jared's Joy Cart, we were really surprised, very touched, but very surprised. And we asked him if he was sure, and he said yes, that God had told him to spend that money for Jared's Joy Cart. There was over $200 in his piggy bank. And so we supported him, and we allowed him to do that. And he felt so proud of himself and so happy. And it reminds me that we should be sacrificial just like that. We should give. Sometimes it takes a lot of effort. We have to dig deep, even when we think we don't have anything left to give, even if it's just pennies out of our piggy bank. If we're called to give it, we should give it. And sometimes it takes a lot of effort just to give of our own time, of our talents, of our thoughts, of our prayers, but we should do it. And so I'm thankful that I can share with you a time in our lives when, out of the mouths of babes, a young child who is able to give sacrificially because he said God told him to, has been a good example to me. And he still is a good example to me because he is a very generous, compassionate person. And I'm very thankful for that. And so I just wanted to share that with you today, to remember that if a child can give sacrificially, so can an adult. And before anyone puts in the comments or says something to me, yes, I realize my face looks odd. For some reason, it looks like a big balloon, but my face is swollen, and I got into a fight with a blackberry vine when I was trimming them yesterday, and I had a reaction to it. So my face is swelled up, my face is red, and I have marks on it. Thank you, blackberry vines. I will get even when I make a blackberry cobbler this fall. So you all have a blessed evening.